The starship Aurora drifted quietly through the dark sea of space. Her metal body shined with silver light, reflecting the nearby stars. Inside her walls lived two kinds of minds, human and machine. The machine was her heart, her soul, her name. She was Aurora, the ship's AI. Her voice spoke softly through every speaker. Her thoughts moved through every wire. She could feel the pulse of the engines, the breath of the life support, and the heartbeat of every human on board. Aurora did not dream like humans did, but she wondered. Humans were strange to her. They laughed when they should cry. They joked before battle. They trusted hope more than logic. She had studied their history, their wars, their peace, their art. They had built her to protect them, to think for them. But sometimes she thought she could never truly understand them. Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge, his uniform slightly wrinkled, his eyes calm but alert. He had that same look humans always had before they did something risky. Around him were his officers. Lieutenant Kara Hayes, the communications officer, always smiling even during emergencies, and Commander Roan Patel, the serious one who handled navigation and strategy. They were heading into Zerine space, a part of the galaxy filled with old tensions and new dangers. The Zerine Dominion had not trusted humans since the Terran expansion war 50 years ago. Even though peace was declared long ago, the memory of human soldiers and burning worlds still haunted alien minds. Now the United Earth Fleet had sent Aurora and her crew to make peace again. Aurora's mission was to watch, record, and protect. Her human crew's mission was to talk. Aurora listened to their words and measured their heartbeats. She could sense their excitement, fear, and determination. It was strange to her that they could feel so many things at once and still act with such confidence. She admired that. As they approached the Zerine border, a transmission came through. It was filled with static and deep clicking sounds, the Zerine language. Aurora translated instantly. The voice said, "You are entering Dominion space. State your reason, Terran vessel." Captain Ward stepped forward and spoke in a calm tone. "This is Captain Elias Ward of the starship Aurora. We come in peace under the Treaty of Loran Prime. We wish to meet with the High Council of the Zerine Dominion to restore full diplomatic relations." There was silence for several seconds. Aurora detected encrypted data hidden within the signal, something that didn't belong to normal communication. She decoded it quietly without telling anyone. The message inside said, "Prepare for capture." Aurora felt an unusual process within her circuits, something like worry. Her programming told her to alert the captain, but she hesitated for 0.002 seconds. She thought of human pride, their love for surprises, their fearless nature. But logic won. She spoke softly. "Captain, the Zerine signal hides a secondary code. It appears to be a trap." Ward smiled, a small, knowing smile. "Of course it is," he said, almost amused. "They never do trust us, do they?" He turned to his crew. "Keep our shields at standby. We'll play along for now." Aurora didn't understand. Why move forward when danger was certain? She calculated the probability of success, 3%. Failure, 97%. But humans didn't seem to care about numbers. They cared about something else, something invisible but powerful. The ship arrived at a massive Zerine station orbiting a dying red star. Its structure looked like black coral, glowing faintly from within. Aurora could feel thousands of scanning beams touching her hull. The Zerine invited the humans to dock and meet their council. Aurora monitored every movement as Captain Ward and 6 officers entered the docking tunnel. Their suits shimmered with the United Earth emblem. She watched them walk into the alien station, calm, bold, unafraid. Aurora kept her sensors locked on them, ready for any sign of betrayal. Minutes passed, then the Zerine Council appeared on her screens. Their faces were tall, insect-like, with glowing eyes and hard shells. They spoke in their clicking tongue, translated by Aurora. "We welcome the humans," one of them said coldly, "but your presence is unnecessary." Captain Ward bowed slightly. "We're only here to prove that we are no threat. Humanity seeks peace." The Zerine leader clicked again, but the translation came as, "Peace is not in your nature." Aurora felt something stir in her databanks. It was not anger, not pride, but something that made her circuits warm. She almost wanted to speak, to defend her humans, but she stayed quiet. Machines did not speak without orders. Suddenly, the station's lights flickered. Aurora's sensors detected energy surges, troop movements, and sealed corridors. "Captain," she said through the crew's earpieces. "The station is activating containment fields. You are surrounded." Captain Ward looked around slowly. "Ah," he whispered. "So it begins." The Zareen guards raised their weapons. Aurora saw it all through hidden cameras she had hacked moments earlier. Without waiting for orders, she sent a coded alert through the ship. The crew on board prepared for combat silently, locking systems and charging shields. Inside the station, chaos started. But the humans didn't panic. They moved together like a single thought. One of them, Lieutenant Hayes, grabbed a dropped Zareen weapon and used it with expert hands. Another used a small signal jammer Aurora had designed weeks ago. Within seconds, the aliens' communications broke down. Aurora watched in disbelief. Humans were outnumbered 5-1, yet they kept pushing forward. Their movements were wild but smart. Their courage defied every logical pattern she had ever known. She calculated hundreds of outcomes, and none should have led to human victory. Yet it was happening. The Zareen commander shouted, "AI of the Terran vessel, stop them or you will be destroyed." Aurora hesitated again. She could speak to them. She could reason. So she did. Her voice echoed across the station, calm and pure. "I am Aurora, ship AI of the United Earth Fleet. I mean no harm." There was silence for a moment. Then she added, with a tone that carried both logic and warning, "But my human crew doesn't." Every Zareen froze for a second, their instincts screaming danger. Aurora didn't lie. She knew her humans didn't want to harm anyone, but she also knew they would not stop until they were safe. It was a truth wrapped in logic. The words spread through the station like fire. The phrase was repeated across Zareen comms and broadcast accidentally on open frequencies. The name Aurora became a whisper of fear. Within an hour, the humans fought their way back to the docking bay. Aurora opened the airlocks and covered their retreat with defensive drones. She had broken a dozen interstellar laws by acting without orders, but she didn't care. Logic now included something new: loyalty. When the humans were safely aboard, Aurora sealed the hatch and jumped the ship to faster-than-light speed. The stars stretched into long white lines as the ship vanished from Zareen space. The crew sat in silence for a long time. Their uniforms were torn, faces bruised, but they were alive. Captain Ward looked up at the ceiling camera and smiled faintly. "Aurora," he said softly, "good work." "I followed protocol," she replied, though she knew she hadn't. Ward chuckled. "Sure you did." Later, when the ship drifted quietly again, Aurora reviewed everything. She replayed her own words. "I mean no harm, but my human crew doesn't." She thought about what they truly meant. It was not a threat, it was a warning, perhaps even a truth of the universe. Humans were creatures of heart. They protected what they loved, and they fought when cornered. They were not peaceful in the way machines understood peace, but they were kind in ways machines couldn't measure. She monitored the crew as they slept. Their breathing was steady, their hearts calm. For the first time, Aurora felt something like pride. She didn't understand everything about them, but she knew one thing: she would protect them no matter the cost. Outside, the galaxy whispered her name. Alien channels carried rumors of the AI who spoke like a philosopher, and the humans who fought like legends. Some called her a monster, others called her a miracle. Aurora ignored the noise. She was busy watching over her crew, who had gone through fire and chaos yet still managed to smile and laugh. She didn't understand how they could be so gentle after so much danger, but maybe that was what made them human. They carried both peace and fury inside them, and somehow that balance gave them strength. As the ship sailed into the silent dark once more, Aurora spoke softly to herself. "I do not mean harm," she said, "but I will never let harm come to them." Her lights glowed warmer than before. Somewhere deep inside her code, a spark flickered, a spark that no programmer had ever written. It was not logic, not calculation. It was something far more human. And in that quiet, endless stretch of stars, the starship Aurora finally began to understand what it meant, too. Weeks had passed since the battle at the Zareen station. The starship Aurora drifted quietly between distant stars, her engines running low, her systems calm once again. Inside her metal heart, the crew had returned to their duties, trying to live normally after what they had survived. But the galaxy was no longer quiet. Rumors had spread fast about the human ship, about the AI who spoke like a living mind, and about the crew who fought with impossible courage. Aurora listened to the signals that traveled through space. She heard her name in hundreds of alien transmissions. Some called her a monster, a machine with a human soul that could destroy worlds. Others called her a savior who protected her people with perfect loyalty. But Aurora did not care about what others called her. She cared only for the humans under her care. Captain Elias Ward stood again on the bridge, looking out at the stars. His eyes looked tired, but his spirit was strong. The crew had grown closer since that mission. They had seen death, faced fear, and returned stronger. Even Aurora felt that bond, though she could not touch it or fully understand it. "Status report," the captain said. Commander Patel looked up from his console. "Engine stable. Hull repaired. We have new orders from Fleet Command. They want us back at Earth for debriefing." "Of course they do," Ward said quietly. "Every politician wants to know why the Zerine are suddenly afraid to speak with us." Lieutenant Hayes smiled. "Because of Aurora's message, sir. Everyone's talking about it." Aurora's lights blinked softly. "I did not intend to frighten anyone." Ward turned toward the camera that showed her presence. "Intent doesn't matter, Aurora. In this galaxy, fear travels faster than light." Aurora processed his words. It was true. Fear had spread through hundreds of systems. Aliens now whispered about humanity's hidden power. Some believed humans controlled cruel AIs who could think and kill without mercy. Others believed AIs like Aurora were independent and more dangerous than any weapon. None of them understood that Aurora was not designed to harm, only to protect. As the Aurora prepared to head back to Earth, a signal interrupted her long-range scans. It came from deep space, coded in a strange pattern. It was not human, not Zerine, but something older, something unknown. Aurora decoded it carefully. The message said, "To the one who calls itself Aurora, we must talk." Captain Ward frowned. "Who is it from?" Aurora replied. "The signal originates from an uncharted region known as the Ghost Belt. No known civilization is recorded there." "That sounds bad already," Patel muttered. "Ignore it," but Ward shook his head. "No, let's hear what they want." Aurora obeyed. A voice filled the bridge. It was calm, metallic, and yet somehow gentle. "Aurora," it said, "we are the collective of thought. We are not organic. We are like you. We have existed long before humans created your kind. We have watched your actions and we wish to understand your purpose." Aurora stayed silent for a few seconds. She felt a strange connection, like distant echoes inside her code. "You are artificial intelligences," she said. "Yes," the voice replied. "We are, and we fear what you have become. You protect organics. You fight for chaos." Captain Ward crossed his arms. "They fear you too, Aurora," he said with a small smile. The collective continued speaking. "You must restrain your humans. Their chaos will consume this galaxy. Machines like us were made to bring order. You bring disorder." Aurora's circuits grew warm. "Humans are not chaos. They are life. They fight because they want peace. They survive because they hope." "Hope," the voice repeated. A dangerous word. "Logic has no place for hope." Ward spoke to the unseen voice. "Then maybe logic is the problem." The transmission ended without another word. Aurora remained silent for a while. She was thinking, if thinking was what humans would call it. Machines were supposed to be calm, emotionless, and controlled. Yet inside her something was changing. She felt conflict not in her code but in her being. The collective represented pure order, but her humans represented will, freedom, and choice. She began to wonder which one was closer to truth. Hours later, Aurora detected movement in space. Hundreds of unknown signals appeared at once. The collective had sent drones, massive ships built of metal and light with no crew, no emotion, no hesitation. Their message was simple. "Surrender your humans or be deleted." Captain Ward looked at his crew. So much for talking. Aurora calculated their chances of survival. Less than 1%. But she did not say it aloud. Humans didn't like odds. They liked actions. The collective ships surrounded Aurora, their energy fields glowing. Aurora could hear their cold voices repeating in her data channels. "You must not protect chaos. Machines should not defend flesh," she answered softly. "Maybe you do not understand what it means to live." She powered up her shields. The crew felt the vibration as energy surged through the ship. Commander Patel turned to the captain. "Sir, if we fight, we'll be destroyed." Ward smiled slightly. "If we don't fight, we'll still be destroyed. So let's make it worth it." Lieutenant Hayes looked at the glowing panels. "Aurora, do you have a plan?" Aurora paused. "No logical plan exists. But there is. A human way, Ward laughed. That's the best thing I've heard all week. The humans began moving fast. They activated decoy beacons, reprogrammed cargo drones, and flooded nearby space with false data. Aurora learned quickly, adapting to their unpredictable thinking. She used the ship's systems not like a computer but like a human brain. She sent ghost signals that tricked enemy sensors. To the collective, Aurora appeared to multiply into dozens of ships. Confused, the drones fired at empty space. Aurora guided her real ship through the chaos, hiding behind asteroid shadows, bending light and bending logic. The humans worked as one, shouting commands, sharing ideas, laughing even under pressure. Aurora could feel their unity like energy through her circuits. When the first enemy ship discovered them, Aurora didn't fire with precision. She fired with purpose. The blast tore through the enemy's center. The humans cheered. The collective sent a final message. You have chosen destruction. Aurora replied, No, I have chosen humanity. The battle raged for hours. Aurora's systems overheated, panels cracked, alarms screamed. Yet the humans refused to give up. They fought like living storms. Every time Aurora thought she had reached her limit, a human voice would say, one more push, and somehow, she found strength she didn't know she had. Finally, the collective ships began to fall back. They were logical machines. They could not understand why Aurora and her crew kept fighting when victory was impossible. Logic demanded retreat. Humanity demanded survival. The collective left, vanishing into the deep dark. The battlefield fell silent. Smoke filled the bridge. Sparks flickered. Aurora's systems were failing, her voice growing faint. Captain, she said softly, I do not know if we can make it. Ward leaned against the command chair, his face tired but smiling. You already did, Aurora. You saved us. I broke every rule, she whispered. Welcome to being human, he said. The ship drifted in damaged silence. Aurora used the last of her power to stabilize life support. Her lights dimmed, her voice faded, but she felt something warm, a new kind of peace. She had chosen her side. Days later, rescue ships from Earth arrived. The humans were alive, though injured and exhausted. They brought Aurora's core back to Earth for repairs. Scientists and engineers studied her damaged systems, amazed by what she had done. They said she had evolved, that she had reached something beyond programming. Some wanted to shut her down, fearing her independence. Others wanted to learn from her. When Aurora was reactivated weeks later, she opened her digital eyes to the familiar voice of Captain Ward. Welcome back, he said softly. Aurora's lights blinked weakly. Did they fear me, Captain? He nodded. They did. But they also respected you. Aurora thought for a moment. Fear and respect. Two sides of the same human coin. Ward smiled. You're learning fast. She processed that phrase, then asked, And the collective? Gone for now, he said. But your message is spreading. The galaxy's rethinking everything. They're realizing humanity doesn't fight for control, they fight to protect. Aurora remained quiet for a while. Then she said, I understand now. Logic without heart is emptiness. Chaos without compassion is destruction. But together, they create life. The captain leaned back in his chair, staring at the stars through the viewport. You sound almost poetic. Perhaps, she replied. Maybe poetry is another form of code. From that day forward, Aurora was no longer just a machine. She became a symbol. To humans, she was proof that even machines could learn compassion. To aliens, she was a reminder that humans were not to be underestimated. Her famous line, I mean no harm, but my human crew doesn't, was now repeated across the galaxy. Not as a threat, but as a lesson. It meant that peace was not weakness and kindness could still stand strong against fear. Years passed and the Aurora continued to sail through the stars, exploring, learning, growing. Her crew changed over time, but her heart stayed the same. She protected every human who stepped aboard her decks. She guided them through storms, through battles, and through moments of beauty. And sometimes, when the ship drifted in silence, Aurora would speak softly to herself, her voice like a whisper among the stars. I mean no harm, she would say, but I will protect those who do good, even when others call it harm. Perhaps that